Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I was supposed to film a book and movie review for The Goldfinch, but because I'm a procrastination queen, I'm filming this at the last minute at night and I didn't prepare the review. So instead, I decided to film an easy video that doesn't require me a lot of preparation like a book review. So today I'm gonna tier rank all the book series that I've ever read, but I'm not including mangas and graphic novels because we will stay here till tomorrow if I do. And shout out to Hannah from Clockwork Reader because I think she is the first booktuber to ever make a tier ranking video. So I've prepared a list of all the book series that I've ever read, including the book series that I've only read the first book, and I ended up with 35 series. It is way more series than I thought I've read because I'm more of a standalone reader. So I was a little hesitant to make this video because there are some popular series on this list and I don't like them, so I'm afraid some people will attack me for my opinions, but please keep in your mind that it is my opinion.
That's my opinion!
Okay, let me get comfy here and let's start. So here's all the book series that I've read, and here we have the tiers: the best tier, the great tier, good tier, okay tier, bad tier, and the trash tier. So let's start with the first series, and it is Shadow and Bone. To be honest, I don't really like this series. I've read it 2 years ago or something like that. I found the world building is pretty good, but the characters and the plot isn't very strong. So I'm gonna put it in the okay tier for now. I may change it later. Next, we have the Lunar Chronicle. The funny thing is the Lunar Chronicle is one of my all-time favorite series, and it is one of the first series that I've ever read in English, but I was on the verge of DNFing the series after I finished reading the first book, Cinder, because it was predictable and there wasn't much unique things about it. So I asked people on Goodreads if it gets better or if I should DNF it, and people encouraged me to keep reading because it gets better, and it actually did. I really like the series, but because it has a weak beginning, I'm gonna put it in the great tier, not the best tier. Next, we have The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, or the Mara Dyer trilogy. I know people either hate this series or love this series, and when I've read it at that time, I really loved it. At that time, I've never read any YA paranormal books, and it was very interesting. The plotline really intrigued me because it has some mystery elements to it. We follow the main character, Mara Dyer, and we don't know if the things that is going around her is caused by her powers or if she is just imagining some things like killing people. And I really liked it, so I'm gonna put it in the great tier based on my enjoyment of the series. I think if I reread it now, I'm not gonna put it so high up in the list. The next series is Penryn and the End of Days, or it is mostly known by Angel Fall. It is a fantasy paranormal YA book about angels that aren't good. They are bad and they attack the earth. And I love this series. I flew through it. I think I've read the 3 books in less than a week, and it was amazing. I read the series 2 times. The first time was one of my most amazing experiences reading a book, but the second read, because I knew what was coming, I enjoyed it a little bit less than the first time, but it is still a great series, so I'm gonna put it on great tier. Okay, now we have the Legend series. It is the latest series that I've read, and if you saw my June wrap-up, you knew that I really disliked this series because I really wanted to like it. Many people like it and it has high rating on Goodreads, and I've never heard anyone saying any bad reviews about it, and I ended up being very disappointed. It is just another dystopian YA series. I'm gonna put it on bad tier. It's not quite a trash tier, It has some potential, but I'm gonna put it in that tier. Now we have the Winger series. I found out through the years what booktubers I have similar tastes like them and what booktubers we have opposite tastes. And if you have been on booktube for a long time, you know that Winger is one of Jesse the Reader's favorite books, and I've read it because of him, but I really disliked it. It has a lot of problematic ideas and it is trash. It is trash. I'm gonna put it on trash tier. The next series we have here is Transparent by Natalie Whipper, I think. It is not a popular series at all here in booktube. As far as I remember, it was an enjoyable read. It talks about a teenage girl that is transparent and it goes through some problems and a lot of things and love interest and etc, etc. I'm gonna put it on good tier because of the memories I have of the series. I still didn't read the sequel and I'm not planning to because I don't remember a lot of the first book. The next series we have is Ready Player One. I think it's gonna have a sequel soon, according to Goodreads. I really enjoyed reading this series. It was very fun because of the gaming element, and it was for me really good read, enjoyable and unique. It wasn't mind-blowing or anything, but it was really fun. So I'm gonna put it on the good tier. I follow a lot of booktubers on booktube, even if we don't have the same taste in books. I follow them because of who they are, and I may discover new books that I like from them, even though we don't have the same taste. As I previously said, I don't have the same taste as Jesse the Reader, but I keep watching his videos because I enjoy them as people. And in this case, the Shatter Me series is the favorite series of my favorite booktuber, Witty Novels. I've read 2 books of the series and a novella, and I really didn't like it, so I'm gonna put it in the bad tier. Next, we have To All the Boys I've Loved Before series, or the Lara Jean series. I'm not a big fan of the romance genre in general, and specifically the YA romance genre, but I've read the series because of the huge love that it received. It was a fast, fun read, nothing great, so I'm gonna put it in the okay tier. Next, we have Bird Box. I love this book. It was announced that it's gonna have a sequel soon. I don't remember dates. I barely remember filming. Why I love Bird Box? Because it was one of the rare books that made me anxious while reading the book, afraid of what is gonna happen to the characters. The writing style was really the type of writing style that I really enjoy reading, and it kept me on my edge, wanting to know what's gonna happen next. And I'm really excited for that sequel. Okay, it's not gonna be a surprise for anyone. It is the best tier for me. For me, it is my opinion. Next, we have Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, and it is listed on Goodreads as a series. That's why I put it here. It was a mediocre read for me. It wasn't anything special. Next, we have The Knife of Never Letting Go, or the Chaos Walking trilogy. I really like the series. I know a lot of people dislike it, and I don't know what is the reason behind that. I'm gonna put it on the great tier. Now we have a hard series to tier rank for me, and it is the Harry Potter series. I have never read Harry Potter series when I was young. I've never grew up with the movies or the books. I watched some parts of the movies when I was teenager, and I read it when I was in university, when I was, I think, 20 or 21 years old. So it doesn't evoke that nostalgic feeling with me. The 4 books of the series will always be my all-time favorite books, but the last 3 books I got frustrated with Harry, to be honest. but it still is a good read. I still have some issues with J.K. Rowling writing some plot lines in a way that I didn't like. I'm gonna put it in the great tier for now. I may change it at the end of this video. Okay, now we have the series that most of my subscribers are gonna cancel me for, is The Six of Crows. I know, The Six of Crows is one of the most popular series on BookTube, if not the most popular loved series on BookTube, but I really didn't see anything special in the series, and to be honest, I actually can't remember anything of it because it didn't has anything special for me to remember. I was reading it just to finish reading it and say that I've read it, but I didn't enjoy it at all. It wasn't a bad series, but it's not the greatest series on earth that everybody on BookTube claim it to be. So I'm gonna put it in the okay tier. Next we have Every Heart a Doorway series, or the Wayward Children series. I love the series. I've been following the series since the first book was published, and I've been rereading the first book for the last 4 years, and I'm always looking forward for the next installment in the series. I know it has some flaws and it is not perfect, but every time I'm reading the series, I feel like I am transported into a magical world. That's why I really like it, especially the first book. I don't like every book in the series. They are not all my favorite books to read, but as a whole, this series is one of my all-time favorite series. That's why I'm gonna put it in the best tier despite its flaws. Next, we have The Becoming of Noah Shaw. It is the companion series of Mara Dyer. As I've said before, it was one of my favorite series ever to read, the Mara Dyer series, but when I read the first book in The Becoming of Noah Shaw, it was really like bad. Nothing happened. They kept going back and forth to the same place. The plot didn't progress. It was boring. And when the next book came out, and I tried to read it, okay, guys, I tried to read it. It was bad. It was very bad. I couldn't finish reading even 50 pages of the second book. I'm waiting for the third book to be released, so I'm gonna torture myself to finish reading the series. But for now, I'm gonna put it in the bad tier, okay? Don't come at me. I'm not gonna tier rank Apollo series now. I'm gonna rank the Percy Jackson series. It is also another popular series that I didn't read while growing up. I'm really grateful for this series because it was my introduction to Greek mythology. It was a really good middle grade series. That's why I'm gonna put it in the grade tier because it changed my life somehow by introducing me to Greek mythology, and now I'm obsessed. Next we have The Heroes of Lombis. It wasn't as good as the Percy Jackson series, and I don't remember that much about it. That's why I'm gonna put it in the good tier. The next series is also by Rick Riordan. It is The Trials of Apollo. I only read like the first 100 pages of the first book. I didn't enjoy it to the point of finishing it. And I think my relationship with Rick Riordan came to an end with this book because I think I grew out of his series. But I still think that his books are great middle grade books. Next we have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. To be honest, I really don't remember much of the series. I've only read the first book and it was not memorable for me. That's why I'm gonna put it in the okay series because I don't remember disliking it and I don't remember loving it, so it is in the middle. Next we have The Hunger Games. And let me tell you this, I've watched all the Hunger Games movies in the cinemas when they were released before reading the series. And I really loved the movies, especially the first one. It was amazing. Then I decided to read the series and I really loved the first book. It was amazing. The second book, it was eh. The last book, I really didn't care while reading the last book. I think the movies were way better than the books. So I'm gonna put it in the great tier, even though I said all the things I said, because I really still like the movies. I'm really grateful for the Hunger Games books because if they didn't exist, the masterpiece of the movies won't be possible without them. Next, we have a Wolf by Wolf series. I've read all the series and all the companion novellas. It is not a very popular historical fiction novel, but it is one of my favorite books. That's why I'm gonna put it in the great tier. I love the series. The next one is One of Us is Lying. When I read the first book of the series, I predicted who was behind all of the shit that was going down in the series. In the first chapters, like in the first 3 chapters, I knew who was behind all of it, but I still enjoyed it even though I knew who did it. But the second book wasn't as good and it was forgettable. That's why I'm gonna put it an overall okay tier. Now, for the most controversial opinion of this video, the hate you give. Okay, I'm gonna put it in a tier and then I'm gonna explain why I put it in that tier. The hate you give for me is a bad tier. And hear me out. I went into this book with high expectations. Everyone on booktube loved this book and hyped it up to the moon and back. When I went into this book, I wanted to read what was given in the synopsis. A young black girl that lost her friend because of police brutality against black people. I wanted to love this book. I wanted it to be about Black Lives Matter, but it ended up to be a badly written book following an annoying self-centered teenage girl, Star. She's so self-centered, she cares about what other people thinks of her, and like in the middle of all the things going around surrounding because of her friend's death, she was thinking about a Templar post, I think one of her schoolmates made about her or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I'm not gonna talk a lot about Star and why I hate her and why the Hate You Give have a really bad writing style. I may discuss it further in future videos, but I don't really want to talk about it right now. Please recommend me some good books about Black Lives Matters or police brutality that are better than The Hate You Give. Another controversial opinion, The Raven Boys. I think I've read the 2.5 books of the series. They were alright. I didn't enjoy them that much. I think they are overhyped, but I can see why people like the series. I'm gonna put it in the okay tier. Next we have The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. I would have been very happy if it was only just a standalone book, but it kept dragging and dragging in the second and third book for no reason. It ended with the same end of the first book. That's why I'm gonna put it in trash tier. Next we have The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I love the series. It is the best. It is perfect. Nobody tell me otherwise. It is the best. Okay, now we have The Shadow of the Wind series. When I read this book, I think it made me go into a reading slump. It's not a bad book or anything, but I wasn't in the mood while reading it. That's why I didn't enjoy it enough. And I'm gonna put it in the okay tier. The following one is If I Stay, and it was a bad book. Okay, oh, let's leave this one for the end. Next we have the series of Unfortunate Event by Lemony Snicket, I think. I've only read the first book and I really enjoyed it, and I love the movie with Jim Carrey. I'm gonna put it in good tier because I didn't finish it yet, but it is pretty good. Next we have The Giver by Lewis Lowry. I've read all the books in this series and I'm gonna put it in the good tier. Next we have the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, or the Rupert Langdon series. I love this series. I know it is problematic and has many issues, but I really like it. Let's just ignore the last book, The Origin. It was really bad. And because of it, I'm not gonna put it in the best tier for me. I'm gonna put it in the great tier because it has a really special place in my heart. And I'm gonna pretend that the last book in the series doesn't exist. The first book was really good for me, and I was amazed that there are a YA book that exists out there and I didn't know about it, and it is that good. But this is the first book for me, and the second book went downhill, and the third book was the worst ending I've ever read in my whole life. It was full of love triangle and angst, and I don't enjoy reading about these things. That's why I'm gonna put it in trash tier. The first book is very good, in the great tier. The series as a whole, a trash tier. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't attack me in the comment section. I said what I said and I don't regret it. Please subscribe to see my future videos. I'll see you next Monday. Bye!